You're listening to the Griffin Sports Insider Podcast, live from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill in St. Joseph, Missouri. It's our live weekly chat with Missouri Western coaches and athletes. Here's your host for the Griffin Sports Insider Podcast, Tommy Rezach.
Continuing from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill on our GSI Podcast. Glad you're with us on this Monday, March 16th. A little bit of a blustery, snowy Monday, but things have at least cleared out. The sun is shining, at least. That is the good news. As we off and running, talking indoor track and field, as Griffin Track is now transitioning to the outdoor season. But we did have an athlete down there at Nationals, and it's an athlete who's been there a lot. Our very own Mackenzie Garr, which if you missed it, Mackenzie, a first-team All-American on Saturday with a sixth-place finish in the shot put, throw of 51 feet, 1.5 inches. Here to talk about that and everything else, Jana Shawver, assistant track coach in her first year with us at Mo West, subbing in for Coach Goose. So, Jana, welcome. Thank you for being here. But for Mackenzie, I mean, just some numbers to throw out. We talked about the distance there, but now a 5-time All-American is Mackenzie Garr. That was her second indoor All-American honor, her second ever first-team nod, and it was the first time that Mackenzie was a first-team All-American in an indoor national meet. She was first-team All-American in outdoor last season. I mean, there's a laundry list of things we can say, and that's kind of been the expectation, right, for Mackenzie to not only get there, but to get on the podium. I know Sean and Jordan were both down there. Maybe you were too. I'm not sure. No. But just starting there with Mackenzie, just making us proud again. Just what kind of pride does that instill for this program?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty special to have her go there and get first-team All-American. She came in ranked 7th, and so to go do better than what you're ranked, I mean, that's always the goal. So.
Yeah, and she was close, I know, on weight throw as well, so we'll see what happens here in outdoor. Now, for those that don't know, Mackenzie Garr will be redshirting this outdoor season after she made nationals in outdoor last year, so looking at, some other outdoor events here in the spring, obviously, distance and throwing, that's kind of been our identity these last few years. Who are some individuals or just some events that you guys are excited about this spring?
Yeah, definitely some that come to mind would be Powell coming back because he redshirted indoor. Gotcha. So having him back competing outdoor will be great with steeple and the rest of the distance events. And probably Abby with triple jump. She did great indoor scoring for us and just looking to outdoor, having her move up the ranks.
And that's Abby Henry, right?
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Triple. And then Pau Valderrama, who is a national qualifier in the 3,000-meter steeplechase. And if you're wondering, Weemach Gilo's time is done as a runner this outdoor season as well. So, but, Pau and Weemach both were national qualifiers in outdoor last year. So we know Pau Valderrama, who had an excellent cross-country season this past fall, winning a couple of events. It'll be good to get him back out there. So with outdoor starting up, what is this first outdoor event coming up for you guys?
So we'll be split at WashU and Emporia State.
Where? I'm sorry?
WashU.
WashU?
Washington University in St. Louis, yeah.
Okay. I've never heard it called that. Okay, so Washington in St. Louis and where else?
In Emporia State.
Emporia. And what weekend is that then?
It is the 27th, 28th, that weekend.
So a week from this coming weekend. Okay, and then how about MIAA Outdoors? Where do they have those this year?
That'll be at Pitt State. They're having brand new track, so that'll be pretty exciting to get on that.
Excellent. And I guess just in closing, Sean's been up here a lot and we've talked about it. Obviously this year was no ordinary year, just, given the things that have transpired in the last calendar year. But for the kids who have come back, stayed the course, like Powell, like Mackenzie, and dozens of others, and also the kids you guys were able to recruit, you stepping into this for the first time, just how would you say this team has just handled everything thrown at them this year, and how excited are you, Sean, and Jordan to see it all play out again this spring?
Yeah, I mean, they've been handling everything great. Taking all this adversity and just kind of moving through it, always having a positive attitude too, which really helps them stay focused during practice and just enjoy it as much as they can.
Good deal. Well, it is spring break here at Mo West, so do some of the athletes, obviously you want to stay in shape, but is this a time for your kids to rest up a little bit before competition the next week?
A little bit. We send them their workouts and expect them to get it done, but a little bit of an easier week.
Good deal. Well, Jana, thanks for coming up here. This is our last show of the year, so we'll be following track and field close, and GoGriffins.com, the best place to get all of the results as soon as they come in, and with the full recaps and everything, we'll have that for you on our Mo West Athletics pages as well. So on behalf of all of us, Jana, good luck to you and your athletes this spring.
Thank you.
There you go. Jana Shawver of Griffin Track and Field, subbing in for head coach Sean Goswich after another year And another All-American honor for Mackenzie Garr. 5 All-American honors between indoor and outdoor track and field. I mean, she has steadily been one of the best shot put throwers literally in the nation in NCAA Division II in the women's division. Let's take a break, and we'll talk some softball next with Nicole Thompson, and sophomore outfielder Kenedee Giddens will be up here with Coach to talk about a busy week. We had Minnesota State Moorhead. We had Fort Hays State at home. Softball getting ready for a Sooner State swing. They'll go to Tahlequah Friday and Claremore on Saturday to play Rogers State and Northeastern State. NSU first, then Rogers second. We discuss it next from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill on the Griffin Sports Network. We continue from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill on our Griffin Sports Insider podcast. Again, our last live show from Hi-Ho in the 2025-26 school year, and kind of a shame because Griffin softball has been playing so well, but of course we'll be out there all spring broadcasting, covering this team for the remainder of the school year. So, no, we're not back at Hi-Ho till this coming August, but of course we will still be around. And joining us here today is second-year head coach Nicole Thompson and a redshirt sophomore outfielder from Olathe, Kansas, a transfer from the University of Maine, Ms. Kenedee Giddens, joining us up here today. Ladies, welcome to you both. And, Coach, I know, a week where you split a couple of doubleheaders at home, Minnesota State Moorhead Thursday, where we win the first, drop the second, and then flipped in our MIAA opener Saturday against Fort Hays State. They have a big inning late. They take the first 6-5. We bounce back Saturday, win the second 3-1. It's not a sweep, which is the goal, but better a split than to be swept at the same time. Just thoughts on the effort this past week.
Yeah, I think how our team responded both days, I think that is our motto and kind of something that we want to hold on to. Clearly, yes, disappointed in the splits that we had, because I think our whole talk that we were at the beginning of the year was that teams needed to earn the wins, and and we talked about it at the end of the game, and the group realized, and we're all in agreeing to it, is that both those teams didn't earn the wins that we handed it to them. And so, but I would rather us learn that here early, especially in the MIAA. It's going to be a grind. We've talked about it, and that's kind of where we've done the things that we needed to do in that non-conference with the record, yes, with the regional wins, but we've got to be able to do those little things. And I think the ways that we lost on Thursday and on Saturday were the same ways. And so that was the frustrating part of, we handed it to them defensively. We made some pitching errors, and then we've talked about it. We're kind of a little bit of the hunted now. You're going to get everyone's good shot, and the good, consistent teams can bring our A game every single day. And so, but like I said, the way we responded, that's where I hope this team wanted to be. It's like I said, it's going to be a long MIAA season, and so to get a split against Fort Hays, that's way better than being swept, especially on our home field. But those are the little things that we've talked about. We want to defend our home field. We have an advantage with being on dirt. And at the end, we just didn't come, a clutch at the end. We had chances. I also thought we squared up balls really well on Saturday. We unfortunately hit a couple that were right to them. But how do we go through those adversities, and how do we pick ourselves up at the end of the day? And it'll be a good, quick turnaround this week. And now we flip the page and we're back to work this week.
Yeah, this team has positioned itself so well, and I tried to emphasize that on the broadcast Thursday, that the regional record is currently 11-3, so obviously going 19-3 to start non-conference, which is the best start in program history. That's huge. And then you talk about the gauntlet in the MIAA. Mo West is one of 5 teams in our league right now with at least 20 wins, and that's before the end of March, so we know there's some heavy hitters out there. We'll get to Kenedee on some offensive things here in a second, but talking of pitching, someone who has come alive and really had a good week, Tori Sandoval, who has now pitched 3 straight complete game victories. Tori, just this past week alone, 8 strikeouts, and I know bringing her in an All-American, that was the expectation. And, I think about that first game Thursday, walked her first 2, gave up a few runs early, but then proceeded to throw, 4 scoreless innings thereafter. Just thoughts on just how Tori's been able to kind of cruise this last week or so.
Yeah, very proud of her. I think the biggest thing is she trusts the defense, and the defense has made some really good plays behind her, and that's what we want to be able to happen. Would we love the strikeouts? Absolutely, but you said it. We're facing some really good hitters, and so for her to be able to trust her defense behind her, I think just speaks volumes for her to be able to pitch loose and get the outs that we need to. But I definitely think she's coming into her own stride. She's understanding. I think Belo's getting back up here. She's feeling confident, and so those are always great things that you want to see coming into a conference, especially since she came from a conference foe, and so she knows the grind that it's going to take to get through this conference, and that's also great to have as a senior leadership because, she's done after this year, and so how does she want to write her last season with us, but understanding too what it's going to take to get through the MIAA. But we wouldn't be where we're at without her. To have the record that we do, to have the best start in program history, and then over this last week we were receiving votes in the latest poll. It says a lot to this pitching staff to get us where we're at, to allow our offense to do what we've done all year long, and then our defense to stay behind them.
Yeah, Tori's record up to 5-2 as a starter. And again, our player guest today is outfielder Kenedee Giddens. Kenedee, I'll have you scoot that microphone just a little bit. That's perfect. Yeah, just a little bit. Perfect. But Kennedee's been swinging a hot bat, if you haven't paid attention. A batting average of .345 with 13 runs scored on 19 hits. And Kenedee hit in 5 of your last 6 games now, and error-free in the field on 23 chances. I know Coach spoke to maybe some of the frustrations this past week, but still, big picture. I mean, things are going pretty good. This is an offense that seemingly has taken a big jump from last year. Just from a player's perspective, just your thoughts on how things have started so far.
I think they're going really well. I think our team chemistry on and off the field, just to want to be around your teammates, just not on the field, but off of it, and want to get to know your teammates. I think that's really helped us get to where we are now, is all the friendship and not being cliquey, none of the, negatives that come with 24 girls on a team. We all trust each other. If one person has a problem, it's a problem for everyone. We're just there for each other, so.
Yeah, that's great. And we talked a lot about having, that core of people back. I think 11 returners, but Tori, you're one of the key additions made in this offseason. And on Kenedee, again, a product of Blue Valley High School, grew up in the area. Olathe, I know you played club softball in this area. Now, you started your career at Division I Maine as a freshman. You, I think, started 29 games in 2024. So take us through the end of your freshman year at Maine in 24 to becoming a Griff. What all kind of happened along that journey?
It was really because when I graduated high school, I told myself I wanted to go somewhere far. Sure. I wanted to get out of Kansas. I wanted to experience something new. Mm-hmm. So I went to Maine. Mm-hmm. And towards the end of the season, I kind of started to miss home a little more because I could only come home for winter break and summer. Mm-hmm. I didn't get Thanksgiving or my birthday with my family or anything. So Nicole I had gotten a text from my coach and got told that Coach Nicole was interested in me, and I was like, honestly, that's an hour away from home. So I went for an official visit, and I just loved it. I committed right after I had left. I was like, yeah, I'm so excited.
Yeah. And so you had a year off from playing last year, is that right?
Oh, yeah, okay. I had a shoulder injury on my left shoulder. So.
Gotcha. Did you have surgery on that?
No, my arm just basically went dead on me. And, it was like, if you don't stop doing what you're doing, you're going to tear something. So, yeah, I just sat out, rehabbed, and came back, and now it's doing great. So.
Well, that's good to hear, and it's obviously been a thrill to have you with us here so far this year. So, looking ahead at the journey this weekend, heading south to go to Tahlequah first. We play Northeastern State on Friday, and then, we talk of the gauntlet in the MIAA. These are two teams playing well right now. At NSU Friday at 3-5, Rogers on Saturday at 1-3. We know Rogers, 4 years removed from a national title and all that stuff. They're 17-9, but right now NSU's in first place in the league at 3-1, 16-9 overall. And Coach, only our second and third true road doubleheaders so far this year, and it's a bit of a long bus ride to get down there. It's beautiful country in Tahlequah at least, but that aside, what's the key this weekend?
I mean, I think we go back to what we've been hounding on all year. We've been battle tested. That's why we traveled the first 4 weeks, taking the road trips to Texas and understanding playing away from home and on different surfaces. And so I think this team's ready. We get back to the lab this week. We do the little things right. And what we've talked about is, we play Griff softball the way that we've been doing. It doesn't matter whoever is on that other side, that dugout. And so, both these teams have started off the season well. Clearly had a tradition-rich program with Rogers State. But we've got to focus on NSU first. Yes. And on taking care of business of them first because they're our first doubleheader. And so doing the little things of getting back, like Kenedee said, of trusting one another, of I think what's made our team so well in the past, this whole, season, is that it doesn't matter who it is. It can be 1 through 9 can step up, and Kenedee's done her fair share of some things of where, we can't get a leadoff hit, and now she's batting second, and we get on. She works her counts really well. She's brought speed to the plate that we needed desperately, and so it's been good to have that lineup 1 through 9 go, and it doesn't matter if it's one person, it's going to be the next person the next day of passing the bat. And so I think that's what this core needs to get back into is believing that we don't need it in one swing, but to be able to have the offense steady, consistent, and then play defense behind us. I think that's the biggest thing that we can take out of this last week is our defense has to stay steady behind our pitching staff, because then that allows our pitching staff to pitch free. And so I'm excited for this challenge. I think we get on the road again. I think we get back into the basics of doing the little things right and trusting one another. And hopefully we come back here with 2 sweeps on the weekend.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. And, you talk about, some of the jumps offensively. I did my season prep on you guys this week, and we've already exceeded our home run total from last year. I think we're up to 26. We had 2 homers on Thursday, and we had 23 all of last year. I mean, I know that's just one stat, but that tells you something of the strides this team has made.
We lead them IAA right now in home runs.
I knew it was toward the top. So, yeah, that's excellent. So, hopefully some more this weekend.
Yep, exactly.
So, the times, again, these games will be available to stream on the MIAA network at Northeastern State Friday at 3 and 5 p.m. At Rogers State in Claremore Saturday at 1 and 3. Softball makes their return home on Friday, the 27th of March, a doubleheader against Central Missouri. Saturday, March 28th, home to Nebraska Kearney to round out here March of 2026. So, as I said, this show is going away, but we are not, Coach. I'll be out there a lot calling some innings and looking forward to it. Good luck this weekend, and we thank you both for taking the time.
Thank you. Wish we could talk longer next week.
That sounds good. Nicole Thompson and Kenedee Giddens joining us up here on the program. All right. We will take a break. We got to talk baseball, men's basketball over the next half hour or so. We'll step aside for a moment. Michael Keeran and Luke Shannahan, our senior first baseman, is here. We'll talk some Griffin baseball next. After their series against Fort Hays State, they too, baseball gets ready to go to Oklahoma. They face Northeastern State and Tahlequah as well. We discuss it next from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. We continue from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill on our Griffin Sports Insider podcast, talking baseball now. Griffin baseball getting ready to round out a 5-game homestand this week with a midweek game against Emporia State before going back on the road to face Northeastern State. Obviously, MIAA play well underway. Baseball at 9-14 overall, 4-8 in the MIAA. Had Fort Hays State in here this past weekend. Head coach Michael Keeran here to talk about it, and a 6'4" redshirt senior infielder from sunny Jacksonville, Florida, and he played for Coach Keeran at Northern Oklahoma a couple years ago. Most recently was at North Dakota State the year before. Mr. Luke Shannahan up here. Gentlemen, welcome to you both. Well, I know, Michael, at least the weekend ended right. You get the second game of the doubleheader Saturday, 6-3. I was at men's basketball practice Friday listening to Tucker. That was a close one, kind of a heartbreaker there in 10 innings, and they get us game 1 Saturday, 8-3. And I know Tuesday, we had to play Truman and took our lumps there a little bit too. But what did it mean for this team to at least experience something good there to end the week?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's baseball, right? We're in the same situation. Game 3 that we were in game 1, and game 1 just one pitch didn't go our way, and we had to ultimately end up losing. But if I had to do it all over again, I'd probably do the same thing. I mean, those 3 arms beat UCM, and it just kind of is what it is. It stinks that it happened that way, but to get a little bit of momentum nonetheless, and just kind of feel like maybe the monkey's off the back a hair, definitely helps. Yeah. So, I mean, I think it definitely helps, but still it's a lot of shoulda, coulda, woulda, which is tough to still be in this time of year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And talking about Luke, who's up here and had a good week at the plate. 4 hits on the week, including a home run, which I believe was on Tuesday. And Luke's been doing that a lot, a team leading 7 homers so far this year. Shanahan batting .308 with a slug of .654. And so, Luke, a lot of positives to take away thus far, certainly. But from an offensive standpoint, a position player standpoint, what are some of the things that you guys are actively working on at this point in the year?
I think being adjustable to different conditions, different where you're getting pitched. And it's been a little tough at times when things haven't gone our way, when we've hit balls hard, we've hit balls into the wind. Ultimately, to take that next step, it just comes down to, all right, wind's blowing in, stay on the line. wind's blowing out, let's get in the air. This guy's pitching us this way. And just being locked into the games and doing what's necessary to win. And, that's when you're really going to see us take off as a collective group.
Sure. Now, I know you're from Jacksonville, but you were living in Fargo-Moorhead before this, so a day like today is just you're probably used to this weather at this point, right?
Yeah, it's pretty typical, man. Like, I never thought that this winter would seem easy compared to what I went through last year. It was just every day was today, and it was terrible. So
I don't know if you know where Crookston, Minnesota is in relation to Fargo. That's about an hour north and east, and that's where I lived before here. So
okay.
I agree. I had to get an oil pan heater on my car. I don't even really know what that is, but you have to plug it in at night because that's how cold it gets in that part of the country. Now, Luke Shannahan's college journey actually started in the regional area, started at Cowley, played for Coach Keeran at Northern Oklahoma College a couple years ago, and then Luke Shannahan was at North Dakota State in Fargo, North Dakota, before coming down here to Mo West. And you come from a big family. You're one of 4 siblings. You had an older brother, Greg, was a pitcher at Division I Jacksonville University. You have a sister, Christina, a brother, Cole. Are the Shannahans all pretty sports-minded?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
And it stems from our dad.
Really?
He, very competitive guy, and a lot of what I've been through in my life has kind of stemmed through sports. Anything that I've learned, anything that I've gone through, and kind of the values that I've, lived by and grown up with. A lot of it has come from baseball, come from my parents, and anything specific through baseball, especially right now. I play for my pops, and it's something that has given me a little bit of an extra edge to try and, make him proud and do this thing right.
Yeah, well said. And, Michael, you obviously had the privilege to coach Luke before. To get that privilege again, obviously the numbers speak for themselves, but what has it meant to you to reconnect in this way?
Yeah, it means more than just, I think, the field. Just to kind of know that you maybe did things right the first time you had your hands on someone and that they trust you again to end their career the right way. And it goes back to his dad. I mean, he's an unbelievable dude. Just to kind of have that entrust in me is great. And then I think with that, it's just like more than just baseball player to coach with when it comes to me and Luke. And like, I think I said it once on here, like you only have that opportunity, a couple times in your coaching career, like to be able to have someone who's over for Thanksgiving, knows your wife, knows your kids, and doesn't just know them, but he is part of the family. So that means a ton to me. And, I think Luke and I have a good relationship where, yeah, man, I check him all the time, but he checks me, and he's one of the few people I think that I've been able to coach that can just say, hey, you've got to walk the walk a little bit too. And that's great to have, and not every single player that you coach can do that, and there's actually very few that can do it. So to be able to have that relationship with him where he's comfortable to do that, but also I'm comfortable to get that feedback is special. So, I've loved every minute of it. I don't know about every minute, but there, with that, there is some times where things get emotional. But I would say, like, every single day, I'm looking forward to seeing him, and just, you look back at some of the times we had at NOC and then now, and it's just like kind of polar opposites, right? We had a 40, 45 win team there, been through the highest of highs together, than now when in reality it's not as bad as you think. But man, some nights when I go home I think it's pretty bad. So just to be with the highs and lows with someone professionally on the field and off the field, it means a lot. So thankful for him, thankful for his family.
Yeah, well said. And just one more on you, Luke. You did have a good year at NOC, second team all-conference, and made the jump to Division I. And you made a handful of starts there for the Bison. But going back to kind of from this time a year ago to now, what were all kind of the dots that connected to lead you here to Mo West?
Experiencing failure is part of baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you experience more than you'd like to, and really persevering through, what's causing it, takes a lot of inward reflection. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of things going on last year that were outside of my control, but ultimately it came down to me not performing and getting this last chance at this level, being in college, it's something that I think it's just elevated my focus a little bit, and it's something that, I don't want to, have my last season be something where I'm not doing the best that I can and putting into it what needs to be put into it. And I think that's the ultimate difference is when it's your last chance, nothing else matters really. You go out and play, and that's what it is. And I think that's what we need more of too, just as a squad is, hey man, this is our one chance with this group. Let's do it, and let's go win some games and make a run. So.
Incredibly well said. That is the goal. That is Luke Shannahan, son of Mark and Leslie Shannahan, joining us with head coach Michael Keeran. As we look ahead to this week, Griffin baseball now said it at the top of the show. It's pretty much unofficially official that tomorrow's scheduled game against Emporia has been moved back 24 hours to a Wednesday 3 p.m. pitch against the Hornets. That opens up a season series with them, and then the Griffins hop on the bus, go south to Tahlequah to battle Northeastern State in a 3-game series. I have not looked at the Tahlequah forecast at this point, so we'll just see how that goes. But starting with this one on Wednesday, Coach, what do you know? Hornets have had a good start. We know that. Just thoughts on what you hope to see on Wednesday.
Yeah, in midweek, you just kind of have to hold on to your butt a little bit. They're pretty offensive and can do some good things. And, we're offensive. It's going to be 65, sunny, really no wind. So, I think there's going to be 2 pretty good offenses going at it, and then I think it's just how each side's going to handle the pitching. They're really good. They've been a top 3 team in this league this year, top 5, whatever. It's a really good league. Yeah. But I think again it just comes down to us. Like we beat teams like UCM. Yep. We've lost a game or 2. Maybe we shouldn't. So yeah, it just comes down to. Are we going to show up and put our best foot forward and play well? And I think that starts today when, we go over film and go over, get a lift in, have some hitting and throwing. So it's a new week. It's a new slate. Obviously last week didn't go our way and there was a lot of adversity. And, sometimes there needs to be that to really get to your best level.
So that, again, it'll be moved to Wednesday at 3 o'clock. That's here at home to Emporia, and it will thaw out. It'll be a lot warmer, and it'll be in the 80s here by this weekend as the Griffins go south after the home game against Emporia. Griffins take on Northeastern State in Tahlequah Friday 6, Saturday 2, Sunday at 1. Those are the scheduled start times for that 3-game series against the Riverhawks. So with Luke Shannahan, that's head baseball coach Michael Keeran. Gentlemen, great stuff. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Appreciate
it.
Yeah, thanks for coming up. That's Michael Keeran and Luke Shannahan talking baseball as the Griffins round out the homestand Wednesday and then back on the road to face NSU this weekend. We will take a break and round out the show and round out our men's basketball season with Brooks McKowen coming off their trip to the NCAA tournament in Topeka. Brooks will be up here to, again, put a bow on what was a great season this past year. Stay with us. It's the GSI Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. Final segment of our final live coaches show from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill for the 2025-26 school year. Ending here talking about a bid to the NCAA tournament. That is a obvious sign of a great year, and in the terms of the recent history of this program, a historic year for Griffin men's basketball. 21-12 making the Central Region tournament down there in Topeka. Brooks McKowen here to talk about that trip and just kind of look big picture as we look what's next. We talk about first year of basketball coaches. Well, the first year is over, so now we look to year number 2 in this McKowen era. And Brooks, I don't know what to say other than a tough end, a humbling end to an otherwise great season. Talking of the game, they get off to a good start right away. They hit 7 threes the first half, I think 8 more in the second. We made a nice push, I thought. We were in some trouble before halftime, cut it to 14 or 15, and then they just come out on fire the second half again. For a team, St. Cloud State, ranked 16th in the Northern Sun. I did not have them down for 15 made threes, but that's March. You expect the unexpected. Closing thoughts on just the game itself on Saturday night.
Yeah, I've told a few people this, but we picked a bad day to have a bad day.
Yeah.
It was just one of those where nothing that our guys did wrong. It was weird week of practice. We had a couple guys sick, so it was not a great flow through the week of practice. But the guys showed up. They were ready to go, ready to play, and we didn't start out very good. We came out, turned the ball over the first play. They go down, score. We come back, get an open three, miss it, get a couple more open threes throughout the first half, and they just weren't going. Like, we got some wide open looks that didn't go. We got to the rim and felt like every time the ball would just roll around and fall out, and it was just one of those days. And you're going to have that, and you got to give St. Cloud credit. They're a good basketball team. They're a physical team, and when you get to March, they're not calling a lot of fouls, so you got to be able to handle some physicality, and that worked to their benefit, I thought. And we just couldn't get over that hump. I kept waiting because we'd had that all year where we'd get down, and we'd always make that run. We'd always find a way to kind of get it going. The flow would start changing. We'd get some momentum. We'd come back on teams and win a lot of those games, and we never had that on Saturday. It didn't happen where we could get that momentum, and I kept saying, like, waiting for that run to happen, and it just didn't happen. But overall, it was a good year. I'm proud of our guys, and the biggest thing with that one is we get beat, and we don't get a chance to hang out anymore. We don't get a chance to practice anymore because it was a great group and a fun group to be around. So that was the most disappointing thing, is that we were done, and that's how this works. We all know that there's always an end game, but I felt like we had a chance to make a run at that region, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, and if you had filled out a D2 bracket or a Central Region bracket, I guarantee it's busted, because who had Duluth beating Washburn that preceded us, and then who had OBU and Duluth meeting for the regional final tomorrow? I'm going to guess nobody thought that would happen. Welcome to March Madness. Doesn't matter what level it is, expect the unexpected. Yeah, what a fun group. You nailed it. And, 3 seniors. I talked to Ty Henry's parents at the end of that, obviously playing in his hometown, an emotional way to end. But think of our 2 sixth-year guys, Dev Butler, who played his 135th career game. Noah King played his 145th career game there on Saturday. And obviously Ty Henry had a great career at Baker, gets to end it with us. I mean, what a special trio that we're going to miss dearly next year as well.
Yeah, those guys were awesome. All had a different path, with Dev being here, or starting at VMI, and then being here for a year under Coach Martin, and then deciding to stay. The only guy that decided to stay with us and believe in what we thought was going to happen this year, and it was awesome having him. Like, we could not have done this without him, and we couldn't have got guys without him and figure out how to do things without him. So I am so grateful for what Dev did, and he had a good year for us, so I'm excited to see what's next for him. And then Noah, being with us at Upper Iowa for 2 years and, taking this spot down here, and him having the faith in me to move down here and to build this program, and to not believe that this was a rebuilding year. Like, that was the biggest thing we told him from the start, is this is not a rebuilding year. We want to go in and compete year one, and we don't do that without Noah. He's one of the best leaders I've ever been around. Our chemistry this year was unreal because of him. He knows how to get guys together and to bring them together and to for a greater purpose, and he did an unbelievable job with that. And then Ty obviously had an unbelievable year for us. He had a run there of like 5 or 6 games where he put up 30 every game, it felt like. So Ty was amazing and just a great person. And, him and Noah both kind of want to get into the coaching world, and those guys are going to do a great job at that.
Yeah. Talking with Brooks McKowen, rounding out our men's basketball season here on the GSI Podcast. Well, I was talking with a few of our folks there in the back before we got started here today, and I kind of look at it like this. I mean, you look at some of the boxes we checked off this year, the whole 20-win thing that's been hanging over our heads. It had plagued, multiple coaching staffs. That's out of the way. That's just the 3rd NCAA tournament bid in the last 16 years. And, heck, we hadn't been to conference semifinals in 5. We hadn't been to conference semis at Municipal since 2020. So to have achieved some of those big things so early, does that take some pressure off, and does that make our guys who are returning more hungry to check off more of those boxes?
I think it makes them more hungry. We've got a good core coming back. We've got a good group. We had a good freshman class this year. We've got a good mix of those other guys in there that played a ton of minutes for us. A couple guys like a Frank that, was in and out of the rotation and had some big games for us when Will was out. So, we've got some guys that got a taste of the NCAA tournament, that got a taste of success, that want it again and are going to come back and compete and have a good summer this summer so that they know what it takes to do it. Obviously, we lost 3 big pieces, but I think these other guys are going to be ready for bigger roles and then to step into new roles, and then we're going to add some pieces to it. We've got to go out and get some pieces now. We're starting our next season, the transfer portal season. So we'll have to go out and add some pieces. We got a high school kid already. We're still looking at a couple high school kids, but we'll add the right pieces to hopefully that this group can, take another step and continue to grow. And, the expectations are going to be the same. Like we said to start this year, We expect to compete for championships. We expect to compete for postseason. You've got to have a lot of things go right for you to do that. You've got to be healthy. You've got to mesh, and you've got to do some things right and get lucky a little bit in the basketball world. But I'm excited for the future of this program.
Yeah, a roster of 13, and you can have 10 of them that are eligible to come back. So that being said, I know this first week, a little bit of evaluation and meeting with folks. So what is the message to everyone who is able to come back? And you said it a little bit there already, but what are you looking for as you head out on the trail this offseason?
Yeah, we're looking for a little bit of everything.
Yeah, sure.
We're just, we've got some big shoes to fill, and Dev and Ty and Noah. I think there's, like I said, we've got guys that can do that are already on our roster. But with this league, I think one of the things that we found with this league, you got to get a little bigger, a little more athletic, more physical. Marco was unbelievable for us, but we've got to, maybe have a little help for him at hopefully we don't have to play Will at the 4 or the backup 5 all year. So obviously we're going to go out and look for some of that, but just get the best basketball players we can. And then, on top of that, the high character kids. I think that's the biggest thing with this group is we've got a bunch of guys that are just great guys. And they're fun to be around. They get along well. They're going to work hard. Every day they're going to show up and do their job. And when you have that, you have a chance to win every time. And, I'll go to battle with these guys every day, and we need to add some more guys like them.
Now, in terms of portal, this is somewhat a rhetorical question, but I just want to make sure I've got it clear because, people come up to me and they say, I bet some schools they're going to look at Marco and they're going to look at this guy. The rule is that you cannot legally talk to somebody until a kid's name is in the portal, right?
Correct.
Okay. Just wanted
so
to
let's not put their names in the portal.
Amen to that. Okay. I like the sound of that. That's Brooks McKowen here. And last thing, you talked about good kids, and Tom Smith's parting message on our broadcast on Saturday was, he felt that, this team, this group, won a lot of fans, gained some fans this year. And I think, even my wife remarked to me that she's like, man, part of it is the McKowen family is a big traveling bunch and they bring the energy. But she said there's a different feel in the stands this year. And I have to agree with that. I mean, Kansas City especially, the energy there was unbelievable. Obviously, we're top 10 nationally in Division II attendance in men's basketball this year. Winning helps, we know that. But beyond that, for you and your staff and your players, what effort did it take for the guys on the team, so many new people, to come in here in less than a year, win over the hearts of this community?
Well, I think we've got a great community, first and foremost. I think the people here have been unbelievable at accepting us. Being new, that doesn't have to happen. And I'm just grateful for everybody that has showed us so much since we've been here. And then with that, it goes back to the character of our guys. The basketball, yes, winning helps. Our style helps. We said that from the start, that you're going to enjoy watching our games. We're going to play hard. We're going to play fast. We weren't necessarily fast all year, but we tried.
Yeah.
But it's an exciting game most of the time. But then it's just the personality of our players. Marco's one of them. Marco is loved by everybody in this community, and it's not because of what he does on the court. It's what he does right after the game. He tries to high-five everybody in the crowd after games and hugs and screaming at you behind you. It's just that personality of all of our guys that they're hard not to like. And I think that's when you get that support. So when we went down to Kansas City for that tournament, people wanted to come watch them play because they truly got to know our guys and they like our guys. And I think that's the biggest thing is we got to continue to get guys like that, so that this community can fall in love with them. And we try to push our guys out there as much as possible, but it's not a huge effort by us. It's just getting our guys in front of people so that they can see how good of kids they are and how much fun they have. And then that gets people to come out and watch. And then if you like to be loud and crazy and scream and yell, sit by my family, because that's all they do all the time. So they'll bring the energy for you.
Well, it is terrific. It does bring the energy. And obviously the Education Day game effort was outstanding this year. You guys made the pilgrimage to Cameron, just as an example. And, the pep rally we had on Friday down in Kansas City, unbelievable energy. And I think that speaks to the enthusiasm around this program right now. So good days ahead. This was a great year, and I think there are greater things in store down the road. So, Brooks, it was my absolute honor to be with you guys this year, and I'm just so excited for the future, as I know we all are. So, thank you, and congrats on a great season.
Yeah, Tommy, and thank you, too. You and your crew do an unbelievable job. That's part of that, getting that community involvement is what you guys do, and you pushing out videos and the way you are on the air. Coach Smith jinxed us. He told me not to do what he did in tournaments before the tournament, so I'm going to blame that game on him. But just the support that you guys give us, we can't do it without you guys either. I know people don't see that behind the scenes sometimes, but it's unbelievable the hard work that you guys put into these things and to really show what our basketball team's about. So thank you.
Well, it's a fun one to cover. So thank you, Brooks. Thank you very much. Give it up for that guy, Brooks McKowen, in a terrific 2025-26 season in the books. And again, that's life in the NCAA tournament. It's great to get there, and we know it's hard to win there at times. And that was a great region. The Central region, I still believe, is the best in the country. And if we the MIAA consider us the best league in the nation, I'd say the Northern Sun is a close second, and they kind of proved that in men's and women's basketball in the NCAA tournament this past weekend.